Hi, welcome to Mama Mandala, where magic is somatic. I'm Hagar. I'm so happy to have this moment with you on this full moon in Capricorn, an archetype that invites us into groundedness, patience, perseverance, the ability to pause and wait before we make our next move, but to keep going, to not let the difficulties that stand in our way stop us, to be careful in the way that we move, but to keep moving. And I think that maybe a lot of us right now, I know that I do, so I'll speak for myself, but I think I'm not the only one. I'm hearing many other people talk about this. This is something that is really needed right now in the culture, to remember to not be stopped by how difficult the terrain that we're moving through is, to not be discouraged and kind of dismantled completely with the world that's collapsing around us. What's amazing about Capricorn as an archetype is that it will reach the top of the summit. So the Capricorn is a goat, right? So it's traveling through the difficult terrain of the mountain, and it may stop itself sometimes along the way in precarious places, in places where maybe as the goat planned to jump to the place that they're on, to the spot on the mountain where they find their grounding. Before they jump, they wait, then they jump, and maybe some rocks fall as they jump. Maybe they kind of it's not necessarily an easy landing and a smooth landing every time. There's moments where the goat fears that it may fall, but it doesn't stop looking for its way and finding its way up toward the summit where they're headed. That's sort of the energy of Capricorn in a very kind of essential way, if you will. That's the essence of Capricorn. Now, before we keep going, I just wanna invite us into this remembrance that astrology is not science. There's nothing proved about this, and that if we're not really believers in this, in these ideas, that's totally fine. You don't have to believe in this at all. But archetypes are so helpful for us to learn about ourselves, to understand ourselves. And what's great about it is that it helps us understand each other. It helps us understand aspects of others and of the world around us, of society, of what's happening all around us. So it's not something that you need to think of in a very kind of a methodical way necessarily, unless you really want to, and that's great. But it can be like a story that helps you, or it helps you to weave the story that you are, or a thread in the story of you and of your life that you're weaving with. And each archetype on the zodiac wheel is an invitation to visit with places in ourselves, to see different aspects of ourselves, to see the shadow of these aspects of ourselves and the great power in these parts of ourselves. And all of us have all these parts. And if you really love it, and this is something you're really interested in, you also can look at where each of the signs that we talk about. So you can go and look up where is Capricorn in your chart, and you can start to kind of weave a little bit more deeply with it. But again, it doesn't have to be proven to be real for it to be a helpful tool in your toolbox, or in your tool belt. So Capricorn is this invitation to use the tools that we have, not only in order to carve our own path where we want to go, but also use the tools that we have so that we can support others on their way. It's an archetype that kind of knows how to draw the gifts out of someone else. It's the person inside of you that knows how to listen to what someone else is saying about where they are, about who they are, and give them a kind of a reflection, give them a mirror that helps them see how capable they are, and remind them of what tools they do have. And if they don't have the tools, guide them toward getting the tools that they need. So Capricorn is a midwife kind of an archetype. And it's beautiful because it's the axis that Capricorn is on is the axis of Cancer and Capricorn. And we're in Cancer season. So the season of Cancer is the season of the first phase in the summer, when the land is arriving at its maturity. It's not at its peak maturity. That comes a little later. It arrives at maturity. It arrives at a full belly. It's the mother in full term, waiting to give birth to the baby, waiting for the fruits to come into the hand, waiting to pick the fruit. And the midwife hands the mother the tools. She guides her on the journey of birth, of birthing. So the mother, which is the Cancer archetype, is this nourishing, nurturing, life-giving energy. It's very deep. It's embracing. You can immerse yourself in it. It's watery. It also teaches us about the phases of who we are, the phases of our lives, the phases in a month, the phases of the moon, right? And right now we're arriving at the full moon, when the land, the sun and the land are playing with the Cancer archetype, but the fullness of the moon gives us the midwife, gives us this powerful presence that reminds us to persevere. It reminds us to grab the tools that we need in order to cultivate our perseverance and our patience and our ability to pause for a moment and go, okay, I'm on this journey. I'm walking this way, I'm walking that way, I'm going in this direction. I'm trying to figure out, is this where I really want to go? And I can get really discouraged because there's things that are happening on our journey that can really hit us in a way that makes us feel like, well, maybe that's not the journey I'm supposed to be on. Or maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. Been trying this for so long, it's not working. Maybe I need to try something else. And maybe you do. I'm not saying that you don't, because sometimes those questions, you know what? I think that one of the greatest gifts that Capricorn as an archetype can give us is the ability to enter that pause. Think about the season of Capricorn. The season of Capricorn in the northern hemisphere is the arrival at winter. So it's the winter solstice into the first phase of wintertime. It's liminal. It's thresholdy. It gives us a pause. It says, okay, we're entering a new season, and it's a season where there isn't life, right? That's kind of very easily showing in the land. The time of the year that is the darkest. It's the beginning of a year, right? It's the end of a year and the beginning of a year. So Capricorn holds this liminality. It's because it's a midwife. It guides us on this bridge from this phase to the next phase, right? From the mother who is in full-term pregnancy into the mother who holds the child in her arms. From the end of one year into the beginning of another. And it really carries this, it stretches this time, this period as this sacred container of transformation, but it's a transformation that happens really deep inside, under the layers beneath the layers, under the darkness of the sky. The time, I'm just like, you see my body language is going inwardly, inwardly, inwardly. So it's kind of very, it's very, I think it's very beautiful. And for a lot of people, it's not necessarily easy, but it's a beautiful character, archetype, part of ourselves, part of the world around us that invites us to know, to learn, to play with the presence of pausing, of being in this place where, okay, we've arrived in this situation, and now before I move forward, right, before I enter a new year, think about again the season of Capricorn, I'm going to pause. I'm going to sit with the lessons. It's not rushing. And I think this is deep medicine for the world right now. Capricorn is an invitation to learn how to be patient and how to not rush and how to slow down and how to be in the dark when we need to be in the dark. Like, think of birth for a mother. There's a time for, and I don't know if it's every birth, but I think in almost every birth, there's a time where the mother feels the darkness of like this almost like a threatening, scary. I'm wanting to choose my words very carefully, so that's why I'm kind of hesitating here. But again, birth is liminal, right? You hover in this very precarious space where it is dangerous. It's natural and it's beautiful, but it's not without its threat. Okay, so how do you hold that place in a sacred container, right? In a way that allows it to move through in a healthy way. You have to have patience for that. Can't push the baby out before it's ready. I have to tell myself that because my body and my first birth of my first child, my body started to almost like it wasn't patient enough. I know that's not what happened. My daughter's head was turned in a particular way. It was a whole complication that was going on. But my body started to push before the baby is ready. And if you push before the baby is ready, it's not going to be able to move through the birth canal very easily, right? So there's this time. I'm using it. Please use it. Like, take that as the metaphor that it is. This invitation to really consider the things in your life that maybe you're trying to push into the world before they're ready to come out. Is there anything like that? And I think that this time of the year, because it is mid-year, right? We're arriving right at the middle of the year, which I cannot believe. I cannot believe we're arriving in mid-year. What the? Seriously. Scary, right? So fast. But we're arriving in mid-year, and a lot of us it's a moment to pause and to look, right? Again, Capricorn, hi. Pausing, looking, observing where you are. And where you are might be exactly where you thought you would be, and you're so excited and you feel this incredible sense of pride because you've accomplished the things you've told yourself that you would. And if that's your case, fantastic. So take the next thing that I'm going to say for the next time in your life where you feel what I'm going to say, because some of us arrive in mid-year and we look at where we are and we look at what we've set up for ourselves for the year, and we're like, what the fuck's happening? Like, why are things not moving? Why did I plan to go north and I find myself so far south? How is that even possible? What happened on the way? So it's a time to ask questions. Ask questions. Ask yourself the questions that are going to help steer the kind of conversation with yourself that is going to be helpful and supportive. So remember, we're on the axis of Cancer and Capricorn, very supportive energy. You have the energy of the mother that is nourishing and nurturing and life building and life giving, and you have the energy of the midwife that wants to help you right now birth the things that you want to give into the world. And so we ask ourselves, where am I? How did I get here if where I was aiming was there? Is this maybe a detour where there's really important information, important lessons? Can I receive them? Do I have the capacity to receive the lessons that are coming my way, that I am moving through? Because that's where I am. And if I don't feel like I have the capacity, then what can I do? How can I be in this place where this lesson is served? How do I develop the enzymes that can help me digest these lessons right now? And I keep everything that I say right now in this conversation leads me to this invitation to pause, to take breaths. I can feel my body wanting to slow down and take a breath, so that I can receive the breath fully. I can let it mingle with my inner world, and I can exhale slowly, and I can let the inside of me mingle with the world around me. So wherever we are, we pause and we start to look and we start to ask questions that are going to guide us through the process. And it's the time of year where you can ask, okay, so I aimed to go there. I ended up here. Are my goals, are the places where I'm directing myself, is that where I still want to go? Is that still a direction that makes sense for me in my life? These are, sometimes they can be not such, I'll use that word even though it annoys me. It's like, sometimes that can feel more triggering than other times. And if it's triggering you, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing, okay? That's just me. I have a little bit of resistance to the extra carefuliness that we bring into every conversation right now, because I think I'm with Capricorn on the seriousness and the difficulty of the journey. And when you go through your life, when you go through difficulties in your life, you can strengthen through it. Not everything has to be difficult all the time. I think it's a great idea to ask ourselves, where can I soften a little bit of the difficulty and find a way that feels more harmonious? It's wonderful when we do. It's amazing when we can. But life is constantly also going to serve us with lessons that are not necessarily easy to digest. So again, how do we cultivate? What are the tools? Again, here it is, Capricorn and its tools. What are the tools that are going to help me break down the lesson in a way that I can assimilate it? How do I cultivate the enzymes that are going to help me digest what's happening to me, what's happening in the world around me? And that requires, my dear, I'm sorry, but it requires patience. And it requires being willing to face the things that are difficult sometimes. Not all the time, but it sometimes requires being triggered. Because in order to learn anything, you're going to need to be triggered. You're going to need to be challenged. Your worldview needs to be challenged. There needs to be friction in order for you to break open and learn and develop and cultivate who you are. It doesn't all happen smoothly, okay? And it doesn't mean we have to go and look for the difficult path, unless we really want to. That's okay. Sometimes we like to go on a really difficult hike, right? Some people love that. I love the hikes that challenge me a little bit, but I also can just enjoy where I am and not focus so much on, like the breath being so challenged and have to go in a hard way. And I love being out in nature and I love hiking, but I love when the experience has some ease to it too. And I think that one of the things that Capricorn is really a reminder of is that we're invited to go through this kind of a discipline on the journey of life. You have to discipline yourself in order to be able to have the things that you want to have, in order to experience freedom, the liberating, free feeling of life. It doesn't come on its own. It doesn't come without its opposite, right? Like I think astrology is beautiful about teaching us the axis, the opposites. It requires discipline. It requires knowing how to move in ways that are not only instinctual, that are instinctual, but not only instinctual. They're not only an impulsive reaction. They're also really well thought, processed, cultivated. And it invites us to remember to enjoy the way. That you're not just suffering in your disciplinarian kind of a practice. Because sometimes Capricorn is perceived that way, as like this very stern being. But there's a sensuality to this goat, right? The horns of the goat. It's like it's the horns of the devil. It's the horns of the nature character. Think of Pan, that the wildness that was demonized by Christianity, right, and then turned into the devil. So the horns are this invitation to remember, the horns of the goat, to remember our wild nature. When I think of Capricorn, I think of Pan. And it's not the most stern necessarily characteristic, right? The archetype of Pan, it's the archetype of the wild. So it carries, again, opposites. It carries both ends. It carries the wildness of nature and of an animal nature and of the instinctual being, and it carries the discipline, the ability to really cultivate a practice and a commitment and a continuous harnessing of, like, I'm feeling my body, harnessing the power, harnessing the energy, pulling ourselves in, holding it connected and cohesive inside ourselves, as we also simultaneously dive into the full moon dance around the fire. There's an image, man, I forget what artist it's by. I can look back in one of those books really quick, but it'll take me too long right now, and it will be annoying for you. So I'm gonna, what I'll do? I'll maybe put it on. Maybe I'll put it in a note, or not a note. What is it called? Like some kind of a text post on the YouTube. I've just done a couple of those, but I'll do that. I'll post that image for you to see, to look at in my whatever written pieces. But this is the invitation to really weave both ends. The stern, disciplined, strong-willed, the ability to have a sense of, I want to say self-control, but I really don't like that term, but the ability to hold ourselves and decide for ourselves what we're doing, how we're managing ourselves in the moment, in any given situation, and the spirit of nature that has no bounds, that has no no discipline in it in a way. It just does what it does, right? It's ferocious, it's primal, it's primordial. There's an ancient thing. And one of the things that Capricorn is really, in a very beautiful way, holds is it holds it holds ancient knowledge. It holds the wisdom of old times. In older versions of Capricorn, it was portrayed as a sea goat, like a part goat, part fish kind of a creature. So it's a creature of the depths of the ocean, just as much as it's a creature of the top of the mountain, right? Here it is again, that invitation to not just be one thing, but to be the thing and its other side as well. And it's an invitation. I thought about it today, that Capricorn knows how to climb all the way to the top of the mountain and reach the summit, and do it carefully and pause on the way and have its journey it's gonna get there all the way upward. But it has also that other side of the sea goat that knows how to reach the deepest parts of ourselves, the oceanic depths of our soul. And it does it perhaps in the same or similar way. As it climbs up, it pauses, it checks, it notices, it has patience, it plans the next step. And as it dives into the depths, perhaps it does the same thing. Down into the depths of the ocean, it's not just going directly straight down, but going phase by phase, moment by moment, area by area, checking what's along the way, and reminding us to enjoy the way, reminding us to smell the flowers along the path. smell the seaweed, right? It reaches down. So funny, because obviously that smell is very different from flowers. But to let ourselves not just let ourselves, but to remind ourselves to take pleasure on the road that we're on. What the hell is the point of continuing to go? What the hell is the point of our perseverance and of our patience and of our continuous efforts if we're not enjoying the way? And I'm not saying you have to enjoy every part of the way, and I'm not saying you have to enjoy all the time. That would be ridiculous. You have to go through a variety of experiences. But the journey, wherever it is that you're going, if you're not also enjoying, then I think we do want to kind of look at it a little bit. Well, if I'm not enjoying that at all, is that really where I want to go? Is that really the direction that my life needs to take right now, if the way is so unenjoyable? So there's some things that we can ask ourselves on this full moon, and to remind ourselves as we're doing the hard work. Capricorn's a hard worker. It's going to show up and do it again and again and again. It's not going to give up. Tells you not to give up. Tells you that wherever you are, if you want to go somewhere, don't give up. Find a way. Breathe and cultivate your skills. Forge more tools in the fire of the intensity and the difficulties that you're in. This is a great thing to remember, I think. In the fires of life's difficulties, we can forge the tools that we need in order to move forward. And I'm saying this to myself as much as I'm saying it to you. I'm not saying it from, I've done it and have arrived, because I don't think that our arrival at our goal is the journey, like you've reached this thing and that's it. Now you get to only enjoy it. No, life is sporadic. It's cyclical. We move through many, again, the phases. I'm thinking of how Cancer really teaches us the phases of the moon. The phases of the moon. Right now we're arriving at the peak of the moon, the fullness of the moon. We started this lunar cycle with Gemini, so we were with the archetype of creativity and of muse and of communication, right? And of the ability to connect different parts to other different parts and to move around and to really follow what inspires us. And now we're peaking within the season of Cancer, within this motherly, nurturing energy, at the capacity to have the capacity not to just have the right tools, but find the right tools, forge the tools, bring the tools, use the tools, and see how you can not only guide yourself in this liminality to the next place, to the next stage, but also who are you bringing up with you? Who are you supporting in seeing their gifts and remembering who they are and supporting on their journey? Because our journeys are intertwined. And we want to make sure that we have with us our people and that we bring them up, and then we support not just ourselves on our path and on our journeys, but others come along with us and we support each other. And I think that on that axis of midwife, mother, are you willing to also be supported? Especially if you are a nurturing, mothering character, right? This is so, I never thought about it really, but there's something very profound about the relationship between the mother and the midwife, because the mother is really the life-giving, the nourishing, the nurturing, but she also needs somebody to support her. So she has the midwife, and she needs to learn how not to do it all on her own, but how to be supported by someone else who has tools that maybe she didn't have before. And there's this beautiful relationship that can be woven inside ourselves and in our lives and in the world. So I hope this is evocative and interesting for you. I hope this is giving you some things to think about. As always, I would really appreciate a little like if you like it, and a share if you enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe, if you're not yet a subscriber. I will make sure to post this image that I said that I would. And also, if you want to do a ritual for the fullness of the moon, I have two things for you. One is my summer solstice somatic ceremony is still available. It's this really vast collection of rituals and of prompts and of deep inner work. It's with the archetypes of the summer, so it really invites you into a Cancer season. Even if it's not fully directly in every way, it allows you to work with this first phase of summer in a very deep, profound, and meaningful way. And so if you want to do something ceremonial and ritualistic with this full moon, this will be a beautiful thing for you. And it's very rich. There's a lot in there. So it's probably going to take you more than just the full moon. You can take it from this full moon and kind of do it all the way to the next new moon. However you want to work with it. I will leave a link for you in the description of the video. I think you would love it. And if you want to create just your own ritual, I will leave a link for a ritual guide, a free ritual guide that I created. You can download it, no problem. It will also opt you into my mailing list, where I share new moon and full moon meditative, contemplative messages and other musings along the way. And I'll also leave a link for you for my Substack for my Muse Medicine that drops every Monday. I would love to see you in all the spaces and spend more time with you. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a beautiful, meaningful, deep, and supportive full moon. All right. Thanks a lot.